welcome back to my channel. I am really excited about this foundation review. I feel like it's a foundation that I have been asked to review for months now. It's something I have wanted for longer than months now. I don't know why it took me so long to get this foundation, other than it is pretty expensive, but when has that stopped me before? And I wanted to go ahead and get this up because I wore this in my, what was it? Now I'm gonna have to go check because it's driving me crazy. Hold on just a second. Okay, I wore it in my Sochwa unboxing video, and I had more than one of you, probably like 2 or 3 of you, mention that you think it's the best my skin ever looked. So I wanted to go ahead and get this up. Plus my dear friend Beverly really wants to know about this foundation, so this is for you, girl. All right, so it comes in, I'm sure you've seen this. It's not a new foundation. There are many things I'm on top of and many things I'm late to, and this is one I'm late to, but it comes in a red box like this. It is the Koh Gen Do Aqua foundation. It is a water-based foundation. If you can see, this is all ingredients right here. Probably the longest list of ingredients in any foundation I own, which is kind of like, okay, how light and natural can this feel? But the first ingredient is water. It does have silicone in it, but it is the 10th ingredient down. So it is more water-based than anything, but because it does have silicone in it as well, I feel like you can use any primer with it. I've tried probably 3 or 4 different primers with it, and they've all worked fine. So don't let that deter you, but it is, the reason they call it Aqua is because the main base is water. It retails for $62. Now, I know a lot of people are like, oh, that's so expensive, and it is expensive. I am not denying that claim, but it is also the same price as any Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk that everybody and their mother seems to have and uses on YouTube. So it's really no different as far as like a luxury brand goes. Again, it is expensive, but it's kind of in the norm. It does come in 1 fluid ounce, the standard liquid foundation. The bad thing about this foundation, and really there is no, it's just not good. It only has 7 colors, and I wear the next to darkest color. It's not the next to last number, but it's the next to darkest, and I'm about to purchase the darkest for summertime, spring and summer, when I start getting more color. That's sad. If I can wear the darkest color, it's not a huge range of skin tone. So unfortunately, for anybody that's like medium past, a little past medium, like medium deep to deep, you are not going to be able to wear this foundation. It's so sad. I hope to goodness that they like expand that range at some point. But I am in the color 123. It is a yellow base. I got mine off of Nigel's Beauty. I do get a little bit of a per discount. It's probably the smallest per discount that I get with them, but a little bit. So I got them on Nigel's. They also carry them on Camera Ready Cosmetics, and of course you can get it on Sephora and maybe even Nordstrom. I don't know. I'll link a few of the places you can get them down below. So again, I'm in color 123. Now on the very bottom, it does say there are no artificial colors, fragrance, petroleum-based mineral oils, parabens, or alcohol. So right off the bat, that's a huge plus. No alcohol. I'm all about it. I do own a lot of, oh, this is my label right here. That's how organized I am. I put labels on when I get the product. Anyways, no alcohol is a big deal to me, even though I do have a lot of foundations that have alcohol in them. The ones that don't, I feel comfortable wearing every single day. So that's a big deal for this. Now, it says it's formulated with minerals from the deep waters of butane and botanical emollients and extracts. This skin conditioning foundation smooths and covers imperfections while feeling weightless and comfortable. We will see about that in the demo, but I will say this is a very lightweight and very light coverage foundation. So keep that in mind. When we're in the demo, I'll go more into that, and I will talk a lot more about that at the very end of the video, but do keep that in mind. If you have problem skin, this is probably not going to be the foundation for you. Koh Gen Do is cruelty-free, and again, it does not contain any of the bad stuff that I read off from the bottom of the bottle. So if you are interested to see how this Koh Gen Do Aqua Foundation works for me and my skin, and how it plays out throughout the day on my face, then keep on watching. Okay, so I'm going to actually prime my face on camera today. just because I want you to see what my skin looks like without anything on. So all I have on right now is my skincare and SPF. So I don't have a ton of stuff to like correct per se. In fact, my redness is kind of dialed down today, which I'm not sad about. And you will see that I'm a little shiny right now, but that's kind of par for the course when it comes to my skincare routine. So I'm going to prime using the It Cosmetics Bye Bye Pores. I did not want to use a mattifying primer, nor did I want to use a radiance primer because this foundation is dewy, and I don't really think it needs added dewiness to it, because then it can just get to be a little much. So this one is one of my favorite go-to, like, just squirted everywhere, middle of the row primers, to where it doesn't affect really the finish of whatever foundation you put on top of it. So I'm just going to put that on real quick. Okay, so that dialed down my shininess just a little bit. Because I always color correct before I put my foundation on, I'm going to do that as well with the Tarte CC corrector and my Kat Von D Lock-It concealer brush. Everything is so frozen. It's so cold in this room that like all of my makeup products are, especially the cream products, are so cold and so stiff. All right, that's about as corrected as it's gonna get. Okay, so again, I have the color 123 in this foundation. It's the second to lightest color. I am going to be purchasing the darkest color, which I probably have already talked about in the intro that I think that's ridiculous, but oh well. I'm taking 2 pumps of it, and you can see the consistency on my hand. It is running down. However, I still have some control over it. Now this foundation is very reminiscent in application to my MAC Face and Body. I find it does not go on well for me with a beauty blender. It kind of just soaks up all the product, and a brush, even synthetic brushes, I feel like kind of do the same thing and makes it a little too streaky, and then I don't know, I just feel like it doesn't really buff it in. So I use my fingers for this foundation. That's the best way that I have come across wearing it and applying it. So I'm going to take a little bit on my finger, and I'm going to start in the middle of my face right here, and I'm just going to proceed to buff it into my face with my fingers. The consistency does not change. Like with the MAC Face and Body, the more you buff it in, like it gets almost tacky feeling. It doesn't change. This one doesn't. And then I just kind of go over and pat my face. So I did get a little red doing that, but that's normal because I'm rubbing all over my face. The good thing about using your fingers is that you can manipulate around your, well, you know, can also get it all in my hair, but you can manipulate around your eyebrows much easier than with a brush or a sponge. So this side, I'm gonna get it buffed in around my nose. This side has the foundation, this side doesn't. So I do actually have a little bit of redness right here. And then over here, it has pretty much covered up most of the redness. It does have, if you can see how the light's catching it, does have a little bit of a dewy glow to it. More of a radiance per se. I don't think it's greasy looking by any means, but that's just the first layer, and it gives sheer coverage, but I do feel like it acts to even out what you're working with per se. So then I'm going to do the other side, and I'm still peeling around my hairline. So if you see like little pieces of something in my hair, it is my skin from my lovely retinol. Okay, so you can still see a little bit of redness over here. The finish is, I mean, I guess it's a dewy finish. It doesn't look oily in my opinion. I think it's just like radiant and skin-like. I have a little bit left on my hand, so I'm just gonna go over my redness just a little bit and tap it in with my finger like that. The more I rub it in, the more it just gets red. So I'm just trying to tap that excess in. And then if you need to, after this step, if you have some areas around your nose that maybe are a little streaky, that's when I go in with like a wet sponge and just tap it. Like I don't want to pick up the product per se. I mean, I'm barely tapping my face just to make sure it's all buffed in well. This is how good that retinol is. My flipping eyelids are peeling, and I don't even put the retinol anywhere near that. It's insane. So I did use the entire 2 pumps, and this is what we're working with. So I've got to get a new mirror. I just have to. sheer to light coverage, but it does even everything out. It did cover up my redness enough to where I don't feel self-conscious about it, and it does give you such a radiant skin-like finish. Like, I really just feel like I put on an extra pretty tinted moisturizer. I don't feel like I have anything on my face. My skin does not feel any different than when I had just had my skincare on, and it just gives this, I don't know, like lit from within. You look 10 years younger than you really are. You must spend a ton of money on your skincare type of look. And who doesn't want that kind of look? As far as pores, it doesn't really do anything for my pores. It doesn't accentuate them. It doesn't cover them up. Pretty standard for a water-based foundation. The color is pretty spot on. And so far, so good. So I'm going to finish up my makeup. I'll be right back. Okay, so this is me with the rest of my makeup on. I will say I'm not going to do any like close-ups or anything, but everything went over it very easily. My liquid bronzer melted in very easily. It didn't take off any of the foundation. I think buffing it in and rubbing it in with your fingers has a lot to do with that, because you're really ensuring that it's like as deep into the skin as it's going to get. And I will say that I used a very minimal amount of setting powder. Since it does claim that you don't even have to set it, I don't like going heavy, and I feel like it kind of defeats the purpose when you put a ton of product on top of something so light. Like, I feel like the whole purpose of this foundation is to have a very light looking skin, natural skin finish, and not feel like you have a ton of makeup on. So I did not use, I probably used half of what I normally use, and I used the Cover FX Perfect Setting Powder, which I find to be really good at not altering the benefits of a foundation as far as like finish and whatnot. So I can still see, obviously that's my highlight, although I used probably like the least out there highlight that I own. So you can, it still shows the radiance of the foundation. So I'm going to go throughout my day. It is 10:15, but I've had the foundation on since about 10. So I have, what do I have to do today? I have a meeting with a web designer. I'm so excited. I'm totally rehauling my website. I cannot wait. And then got a couple of other errands to run, and the gym. It is a gym day. So I will check in later tonight after all of that and show you how this foundation wears throughout the day. Okay, so it is about 9:15. So I've had this foundation on for 11 hours. So it's a really good test, in my opinion, kind of a run of the foundation. I will say that at about 5 hours into wearing the foundation, I didn't have to, but I felt like I needed to powder. It was just a little shiny, in my opinion. I'm going to figure out, I took like a really not so great quality iPhone picture around the time that I needed to powder. And I'm going to try to insert that just to see, so you can see what I'm talking about. If it doesn't work out, obviously I won't be inserting it, but you'll just have to take my word for it. I touched up with the Charlotte Tilbury powder, and I just did it on my chin and a little bit around my nose, and then right here on my forehead. I just don't like to be extra shiny there, and I just felt like it was looking a little bit shiny. Keep in mind, I do have normal skin, so I don't know if you have oily skin, if that's going to maybe sway you in the other direction when it comes to choosing whether or not you want to buy this foundation. On that note, I will say I don't know, since this is not a new foundation, if you have oily skin and you have tried this, let us know in the comment section how it worked for you. I can't attest to how it works for oily skin. I can only imagine that it might get a little too glowy for oily skin, but I think that it is perfectly fine for normal to dry skin. In fact, I tend to have a reaction to a certain ingredient in some foundations that makes me look shinier than other foundations. It doesn't really make sense. It's not oils I'm producing. I've talked about this before. It just makes me look shinier. I don't know why. So even if you have normal skin, does not mean that you're going to need to touch up, or dry skin midday like I did. I do think that it would be a great foundation for normal to dry skin, possibly even combo if you use the correct primers. I will say that this is not for people with problematic skin. If you have scars, if you have active breakouts, if you have a lot of like rosacea and redness, this is not going to be the foundation for you. It is not going to cover up enough, in my opinion. It is a very sheer to light coverage foundation, and it just kind of, I don't know, it just evens out everything, but if you've got a lot you need to even out, it's not going to probably be up to par to what you're looking for. So I can't recommend it for people that don't have fairly decent skin to begin with. It doesn't settle into fine lines, so that's good. I know a lot of mature clients that I've worked on have some of the softest, like, baby butt skin. I don't know, I know that's awful, but it's like so soft, but it does have wrinkles and it does have fine lines. That's the kind of skin that this would be great on, because just because you have wrinkles or fine lines doesn't mean you have problematic skin per se. So I really think that it will work really well on that, because it doesn't sink into fine lines and wrinkles. It didn't accentuate my pores throughout the day. It really is just a very skin-like, beautiful finish foundation. I'm not going to say, yes, you need to go out and run out and buy the $62 foundation. Is it in my top 5? Not yet. I haven't used it long enough. I'm not like falling head over heels in love with it to where it automatically goes into my top 5 foundations and knocks one of the other ones out. It hasn't happened yet, but another way that I like to kind of like test my foundations, putting them on a scale of like 1 to 10, is a scale of how much do I look forward wearing these foundations in particular throughout the day. I have so many foundations and so many of them I try to force myself to use, and I just can't bring the motivation to do it. Like, I'm like, well, okay, I really need to use that foundation, and then I wake up the next morning, go to put my makeup on, and I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I won't. Maybe I'll wear that one tomorrow, and then I end up using one that I really like, and so those foundations just get forgotten. So I will say, on the scale of that, for testing purposes scale, it is a foundation that I do look forward to very much wearing. I do get compliments on my skin when I wear this foundation. It does cover what I need it to cover, but bring out what I want it to bring out. And as far as, you know, long lasting, other than that one touch up I did, which is not a big deal to me, it lasted through my workout perfectly. It lasted through the day, other than that, perfectly, and it doesn't look worse for the wear. I do give this a thumbs up, and I'm going to let you decide whether or not you want to buy this foundation. But if you have the kind of skin that I thought that it benefited, and you have been wanting to try this for a while, I say go for it, because I do really, really enjoy it. So hopefully that answered all your questions. As always, if it didn't and you have another one, please do not hesitate to put it down in the comment section below. Subscribe and like if you haven't already before you go, so you don't miss out on any future videos. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you all more than you will ever know, and I hope you have a very blessed day.